I'm getting better at it. I'm getting better at it. All right, so what do you think this film is about? Guess, just guess. But the title, what do you think it's about? Yes, Napoleon Dynamite's historical reign.
What are you gonna do today, Napoleon?
Whatever I feel like I want to do. Gosh!
Everybody. I'm shooting this alone. Nobody's laughing. Nobody's here. All right, welcome back. Josh here, and we're gonna be talking about Napoleon. How do you say it? How would you say it like in French? Napoleon. That's probably similar. Well, the movie was directed by Ridley Scott, and it stars Joaquin Phoenix and Vanessa Kirby. Now, Ridley Scott, on one hand, he's extremely cocky when it comes to these interviews and actually, talking about films and, his process and everything. But on the other hand, he's so good. He's a great filmmaker. This film takes place over the course of Napoleon Bonaparte's greatest war achievements to his inevitable fall. As we follow Napoleon from an early age, we see Joaquin Phoenix basically be Joaquin Phoenix. He's kind of working it all out at the exact same time. It's as if he had no idea who this character was. Napoleon. While conquering, he falls in love with Josephine, played by Vanessa Kirby. She was nowhere near as lost as Joaquin Phoenix, but still didn't really feel like there was anything special to the character. That seems to be the momentum for the entire movie, being lost. When it comes to how it's constructed, how it's presented. So Napoleon conquers, writes to Josephine, rinse and repeat. That's the entire movie. And when it came to this movie itself, the length, it either needed to be much longer or much shorter. And I know that they're not gonna give us a shortcut, but they will give us a 4-hour cut to enjoy. First is the achievement in filmmaking. I read that they did this in 60 days. In filmmaking terms, especially on indie films, they still give you only probably 18 to 22 days. So if you think of that in the scope of a small independent project, and then you triple it to give it for something in such a huge scope and size of a $200 million Apple movie, think of just the amount of coordination and achievement just that comes into play. As much as I can knock Ridley Scott for the way that he is, being cocky or very extremely confident. With that type of coordination, shot in 60 days, a huge budget, and then actually using 11 cameras while shooting the film, I have to put aside my distaste or dislike for that kind of attitude, just knowing that how incredible of a filmmaker you need to be able to hit coordination during battles and all these things. The scale made sense for this type of movie. It had huge battles. The VFX were realistic even for how they were presented. That scale gave you more of a sense to see how small the character is in comparison to the environment. The battles felt huge. When they zoomed out to kind of see the leadership tactics and the playing chess type of thing that Napoleon was doing, it was really cool to see that. I think that made a lot of sense, and it worked in that kind of perspective and how we were actually seeing how Napoleon sees things. Lastly, the design. This had to do basically with the design of the locations and the costumes, and the production design, man, that really needs to be celebrated on its own, just because the small intricate details within costumes, everything had its own layer of time that was part of the character and part of the actual movie. One thing that I can't understand, especially when it comes to entertainment, how everybody approaches French. Where are all the French actors? There are a ton of French actors out there for the authenticity that you can give the movie. There's no French actors. There's no French anything. There's no French language. There's no French accent. There's nothing that kind of feels like, anything French related within the movie. We're looking at Napoleon and everybody has different accents and different styles, and it's just kind of all over the place and a little messy. Especially when you have lost Joaquin Phoenix over there just being like, I really don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I really don't know what I'm doing. We understand that there's this balancing act that they were giving us with a narrative. Great at battle, terrible relationship. Great at battle, terrible relationship. I guess it didn't really meet in the middle until it got to this point where it was relationship. What relationship? Now I'm terrible. I think the question at the end of the day, why was the movie so dull? I would say that this is definitely a killer background movie. You could literally take a nap and still never miss a beat and understand exactly where it's going. So, I don't know, take a nap. What did you think? Is this worth an estimated $200 million? Where does it fall with your Ridley Scott filmmaking ranking? Is this among the best of his movies? What was missing? What was the key ingredient? What was the key thing that could have changed this? Is it missing more historical context? Did it need to be more historically accurate? I say this, I do this. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching. See you later. Jabroni. Jabroni. Red leather, yellow leather. Put a timer on.